Over and out. I will see you in the morning. Well, I'm up and the sun will be soon too. It was a rough night last night. I don't know how people say they get their best night's sleep ever in a hammock. It wasn't mine. It wasn't mine. I could just never get comfortable, and I ached all over. My arms went numb. Yeah, it was rough. Anyway, I'm down here alongside the lake. I come down here and warm some water for some coffee and oatmeal and watch the sunrise over the lake. How do you like my tablecloth? Nice green mossy carpet here. Got my coffee and my oatmeal waiting for the water. Oh, and I almost forgot my little Debbie frosted donuts. Look at that little stove go. Man, that didn't cost me nothing except 30 minutes of labor to make that out of a Coke can. And that thing has been the most dependable and efficient little stove. According to the data on the phone, the weather data, the sun was supposed to rise at 6:16 a.m. It's about 6:40 right now. Still not over the tops of those trees. You can see it catching over there on the upper branches. Just starting to light them up. I see something swimming out there in the mist. It probably won't show up on this camera. I'm wondering if it's a beaver. It's just the barest dark spot moving along out there. Gotta be ready with the camera. I just missed it. I watched a gull swoop down to the surface of the lake and grab a fish and fly away with him. He did a big slow circle and went past me, and I could see the fish flopping in his beak. I noticed this tree yesterday when I walked down here by the lake. That's a beaver scar. You can see the tooth marks. where he worked away at it. He was about a good 3 inches into it, but he picked the wrong tree because this is a tall, tall oak tree. Beavers usually like to chew on soft stuff like popple and that kind of thing. I think he probably wore out his teeth on this, gave up. Wow, I walked right by it yesterday. There's actually a post along the trail here for my campsite, site number 3. You can just barely see it up there. I'm gonna walk down the lake a little ways. I just heard in the woods, it's a screech. Sounded like a cat, somebody pulling a cat's tail 3 times. I think it was probably a bird. Hope there's no big cats back here. There are verified cougar sightings in Michigan, mountain lions. Well, hey everyone. Sorry to interrupt your enjoyment of my thrilling video. I've cut in right at the point where I've just finished talking about the strange cat-like sounds I've heard nearby in the woods. Well, a very strange coincidence happened about 1 week later after I got home from my adventure. I was thumbing through Facebook one morning and I come across a link to a video that had the headline screamed, strange cougar sounds. So I had to listen to it, and it was a recording from a trail camera somewhere in Colorado of a cougar, and this cougar was making these strange, it was a combination of feline cat sounds, a baby crying, and a bird screeching. And I listened to it, and it was almost exactly the sound that I heard in the woods. And it kind of freaked me out too, because at the time when I was in the woods and I made those comments, I was only like half serious about a cougar. You know, I was all worried about bears in the woods and Bigfoot, haha. But it really piqued my interest, so I started doing a little research. Like I mentioned in the video, cougars have been sighted in Michigan. There are now verified cougar sightings in Michigan. So I started doing some research. And I came across some interesting facts. I researched specifically cougar and cat sightings in Alcona County, Michigan, which is where Reid Lake is located. So I discovered an article in the Free Press a few years back and a couple other articles. I'm going to put links up above in this video clip so you can check them out too. I'll also link the video with the cougar sounds. But it turns out that there is a long history of cat sightings, big cat sightings in Alcona County, going back, I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, to the 1980s and 1990s. In fact, some of the sightings were by people associated with the DNR, and they were actually afraid to mention them to their superiors. They only kind of brought them up as an afterthought, at some later point in time. So yeah, Alcona County, long history of cat sightings there. And to top it off, I have a friend, a co-worker who knows someone else, and he spends time every summer with this guy on his property at Hubbard Lake, which is only about 20 miles from where I was camped. And so I asked him, I said, hey, is your friend, has he ever heard anything or seen anything, big cats in Alcona County? And his eyes get real big and he goes, well, yeah, he's got trail cam footage of a bobcat on his property. So even though that sounds anecdotal, you know, I'm all in. Now, I'm convinced that I heard a cat in the woods. Yeah. Instead of worrying about bears and Bigfoot, I maybe should be worried about big cats next time I go up there. If I want to see some wildlife, maybe I should bring a can of cat food and set it out instead of banging on a tree, batining on a tree, signaling Bigfoot. What do you think? Anyway, that's my important news, and back to the video. There she is, up over the trees. Oh, this green moss is so pretty. And here's another beaver damaged oak. They didn't get so far into this one though. Been shooting all this video of the water and the mists and the sun, and forget what's at my back. This beautiful, beautiful forest. Tall trees, straight trunks. You know, it's a shame. I've noticed this when I've camped up here in these woods at Hoist Lakes, which is just a few miles from here, and the same thing here at Reid Lake. Toilet paper, those white wads in there. Somebody did their business behind these trees here, and it's just a few yards off the campsite. Come on, people. Either bury it or pack it out in a plastic bag. And speaking of which, I know there's a woods privy somewhere back in here, so I'm going to go in search of right now. I can already see the privy back there. Right back there is an unnatural shape. Sure enough. Public restroom this way. And this is what really gets me. I mean, it's taken me less than a minute to walk back here. I'll bet you any money. I mean, no offense, ladies, but it was women that did that back there with that toilet paper. They were afraid to walk back here in the dark. Let's take a little walk back here. I noticed when I walked up, structure back here in the woods. It's a hunter's ground blind. It's like a pretty good hunting spot. Oh, this is some rugged terrain too. Goes right downhill here. I didn't realize it. I'm pretty close to the other campsite. You can see my right there, my hammock. There's the other campsite right there. Oh, this is the other site. The one that I opted not to choose yesterday. It's right off the trail. You can see the trail leading down there. I just noticed those two trees there. That would have been, it's about the only place to string a hammock here, but yeah, somebody left a ridgeline. Somebody left a ridgeline on this one too. Just saw this cool looking tree here. Wait for it. Tree's got a nice Kardashian butt. Ooh. Hey, come around on this side, it's not so nice. Looks like monkey butt. Oh. Oh. The monkey butt tree. Here's some more of that toilet paper. Oh, people. And this one, it's even closer to the campsite. I don't know if I did like a panel of my campsite yesterday. There's my little hooch between the two trees there. Little campfire ring and a bench. Surrounded by all these wonderful tall oaks and aspens. Some maples. It's really, really a beautiful sight. Somebody was kind enough to put all these log sections here for stools. The remains of my fire from last night. This old bench here has seen better days, that's for sure. There's so much lush growth on the forest floor here, and such interesting plants too. Look at the leaves on these. I'm going to have to look that up when I get home. All different shapes. And the cool thing is, so far, I haven't seen any poison ivy. I'm gonna walk down here and retrieve my my food and cooking stuff. It's almost 8 a.m. The mists are still swirling over the lake there. I think lake is a very generous term for this body of water. It's more like a pond. Every once in a while you hear a bullfrog. Boom, boom. And still more toilet paper. Looking in the woods, or the weeds, 3 feet away. The remnants of one of the trail signs here in the undergrowth. It looks to me like somebody just decided they needed a souvenir. Tore down one of the trail signs, cut out the part they wanted, and threw the rest in the weeds. Nice. So I got the tarp peeled back from my hammock set up here, so I thought I'd give you a better look before I tore it all down. I fussed and fussed over this yesterday, trying to get it just right. I don't know. I guess it's okay. Adjusting the straps is the hardest thing. You're supposed to get like a 30-degree angle on the hang of the strap off of the tree. And I saw a video on YouTube that said, if you do that with your thumb and index finger, a line between the two tips is equal to a 30-degree angle. So I think I got it pretty close. All that is supposed to be to get you the most comfortable hang, the best comfort in your hammock. And that's just about the right height off the ground there. You don't want to go any higher than that. If something were to happen, a strap would let go or something, you don't want to fall 3 feet. 18 inches would be bad enough. Anyway, nice shadows. This is the bug net I got. It just slips over the whole, you slide it on over the hammock. After you got the hammock hung, then you slide it over, pull it taut, and fasten it, anchor it to the tree. You draw it, cinch it tight at each end. A little cinch strap in there. Then it has this nice double zipper opening. I don't know why it hangs so low in the bottom, but it's got ample headroom above the hammock, and it's got some nice gear loops inside to hang stuff on, like right here. I got hanging my headlamp from the gear loop. You can see my makeshift underquilt there. It actually worked really well last night. I did not get cold butt at all. Cold butt, cold back, cold legs. I was cozy all night long. Not comfortable, but cozy. If you ever wondered what it feels like to be a burrito, sleep in a hammock, you are all wrapped up. My little pillow here. And my down quilt. Well, if I ever get that to stay. My down quilt, which I just laid over the top of me. And that's a 20-degree rated quilt. 20 degrees. Anyway, I was never hot last night. Never sweaty. It was just right, and I think it got down to about 49 degrees overnight was the data on the weather on my phone this morning. The only thing is with this is I'd like it to have like a neck baffle in it. Just it's like sleeping bags you can cinch up around you, but this one you can't, and so drafts get in around your neck and shoulders. And I wasn't cold last night, but definitely you feel the temperature difference around your neck area. It wasn't bad. So I'm going to get about tearing this all down. Maybe when I get it busted down to where I can show you that makeshift underquilt, I'll give you a better look at that. So before I go tearing this all down, I just realized probably some of you folks might be interested in what kind of gear this is. The hammock, the tarp, and the straps are all Eagle Nest Outfitters. I got them at Sierra Trading Post. Clearance markdown, everything for right around $100, which it's a deal, because Eagle Nest Outfitters it's quality gear. It's not I don't know, it might be made in China, but it's not cheap stuff. You know, it's professional grade. And I think it's the camo pattern that's probably not such a big seller for most people. That's why it was actually discontinued from their line. The fly is called the Pro Fly. It's just kind of a minimalist fly. Simple, just enough to keep the rain off you. It's not really meant for severe weather or like full coverage or winter camping. Got their nice camo straps. Nice solid carabiners on the end of the hammock for hanging. It's really a quality piece. It was an impulse buy. I really didn't research a whole lot. I mean, I knew there are other brands out there, a lot of stuff, lightweight and ultra lightweight backpacker specific. None of this could be considered that, and I'm not that serious about my gear yet, although I might be getting there as I get older. It's getting harder for my old frame to haul this stuff back into the woods. And the mosquito bug net is, see if I got a label on that, on the stuff sack here. Hammock dragonfly insect net. And this again is it's probably made in China. You know, everything is nowadays, but it's quality. It's professional, you know, professional grade. It's not some thrown together crap. Good workmanship, good materials. I should tell you about my quilt too. This is Bandit Top Quilt by UGQ Outdoors. UGQ stands for Underground Quilts. They're in Jackson, Michigan. It's a down-filled quilt. It's rated at 20 degrees Fahrenheit, 800 fill power down. It's got lengthways baffles in the body section, and down at your feet it has a crossways baffle system. You're less likely to disturb the fill, the downfill, with your feet kicking in that. The bottom can be cinched with a drawstring, and it's also got a zipper that zips about 2 feet that you can make like a foot box for it to keep it around your feet. There's their tag. Of course, it's upside down. UGQ Outdoor LLC. UGQ makes gear for hammock camping, quilts, top and bottom quilts. I don't think they make hammocks or flies, I'm not sure. Quilts are their specialty, and fully customizable, made to order. I happen to buy the Bandit they stock in limited colors and sizes on the shelf, so you can buy them, but most of their stuff is custom made. You can specify and customize every aspect of your quilt, and they have like a 4 to 6 week wait for delivery. They're so busy, and it's a cottage industry, so if you know you want one of their quilts, you need to order it well ahead of time when you're going to use it. But again, it's made in the USA. It's made right in Michigan, which is cool. And their price point, geez, I forget what I paid for this, $169 or something. It's well below the competition. And again, it's a quality made piece, and you can feel good about it being made in the United States. All right, so there I have my the bug net is stripped back off of the hammock, and you get a better look at my makeshift underquilt here. Oh, I dreamed this up through last week, and I'm surprised. It worked very well. You can see this is my vintage space blanket, Mylar aluminum. It probably would have worked fine just with the space blanket alone, but I put a sheet of Reflectix insulation that I bought at Home Depot. I put that underneath there. And then this stuff, which is sill sealer, polyethylene closed cell foam sill sealer, sold also at home centers. This this was roadkill. I picked this stuff up on side the road one day. A whole roll of it had blown out the back of someone's pickup truck, and I pulled over and grabbed it. I rolled it all up and threw it in my car as fast as I could. Threw it in the basement because I knew someday I'd figure out something to do with it. Anyway, you can see it's about, I don't know, 8 inches wide. For this goes when they build homes, on the top of the foundation wall between this and the sill plate, to eliminate air infiltration. Anyway, I took and cut it into 3 6-foot lengths, and then I taped it together with packing tape. The system the system worked well. My backside never got cold, and probably last night it would have worked with just the tarp, or I could have put either of these pieces here actually underneath me inside the hammock. It would have been a little awkward and slippery and probably sweaty as heck too, but I think even that would have worked rather than to put that space blanket over the outside of the, or underneath the hammock. You can see I just used some bungee cords through the grommet holes on the space blanket, tied them, stretched them off into the hammock suspension there. It worked. It ain't pretty, but it worked. On last but not least, Tyvek scrap for my foot mat. And I got another scrap over here that I used as my gear organizer. Look at that pile of crap, all that junk for one night in the woods. Half of it I didn't need or use too. Oh, when am I going to learn? I had to carry it all in, and I got to carry it all out. Well, hammock's all down. Everything's packed away in the stuff sacks. Got my pile of crap there I got to get into my backpack. Just sitting here having a little snack before I leave. Well, that's going to wrap it up. I have the pack all loaded there, ready to mount up. Just got to dose myself with a little mosquito repellent there. Gonna leave the ridgeline up here for the next camper. Thank you, mystery camper that left it for me. Boing! Nice taut ridgeline between the two trees here. Somebody pounded a 9-inch nail into this tree. I'm using this insect repellent, 20% Picard, and it works really good for me. In my opinion, it works as good as DEET, without the whole nastiness associated with DEET. All right, I'm all packed up, loaded up, and ready to go. Gonna take a different way out than we came in, just loop around the other side of the lake, kind of go in a big circle back to the parking lot. Probably about maybe not quite a 2-mile hike. I think first I better visit the privy in the woods again. Say goodbye to the beautiful little campsite on Reid Lake. We shall return, most definitely.